Welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. It's your host, Dr. Morgan. I'm so excited that you're here. We have a really important topic today. We are going to look at the securely attached breakup. What can we learn from people with secure attachment who go through breakups? How do they navigate them in a way that allows them to still feel and process, but doesn't leave them curled up on the floor, unable to move, eating that pint of Ben and Jerry's, crying to love songs for days at a time? And why is that example so specific? Because that's how I used to navigate breakups when I was experiencing disorganized attachment style in my life. Anytime I would go through a breakup, it felt like a death. It felt like the world was ending. There was always so much inner turmoil that I experienced. And I would go from, of course, I would go from avoidant attachment response of not wanting to feel anything. And then I would pendulum swing into the anxious attachment. I'm never going to find anyone. I'm so worthless. Oh my gosh, this relationship's over. I'm never going to have another shot at love. You get the idea. It was chaos. It was painful. Breakups were not fun for me. So I just want you to know that if you have an insecure attachment style, it would make sense that breakups would be hard for you. So today, let's work on that. Let's talk about what happens in the securely attached breakup. Before I dive in, I just want to welcome you if you're new to the podcast. There's been a lot of new listeners, so welcome. And just a little bit about me, I'm a clinical psychologist. I had a private practice in La Jolla, California for years. And then I realized, I want to help more people. I want to reach as many people as possible. And then I moved into specifically focusing my time, research effort into attachment styles and helping people heal so that they can have emotionally available, securely attached, amazing relationships that last. So I have now helped this is crazy, over 700 clients have gone through my signature program, and I've helped them become securely attached and attract the love that they deserve. I get messages all the time now of people who are getting engaged, getting married, having babies, people who've gone through the work of this program, rewired their brains, and now they have their emotionally available dream relationship. So the work I do is incredibly rewarding. I love helping people. And this podcast has over 5 million downloads. We are a top rated podcast in the personal development space, usually top 50 or so. And this community has just grown and grown and grown. So I am happy you're here. Welcome. And thank you for being part of this community. If you haven't done so, go leave the show a written review. That's what actually helps more people find the show. The more people who find the show, the more people that I can help through each episode. So I love you. I'm so glad you're here. And let's dive into today's episode, shall we? So we're talking about the securely attached breakup. And by the end of this episode, I think that you are going to have some tangible things that will help you shift and realize, this is the model for the securely attached breakup. So that if you are going through one now, or if you find yourself going through one in the future, you can remember this is how the securely attached person processes the breakup. And these are the differences. Okay. So, brief refresher on attachment styles. We know we have anxious, avoidant, secure, and disorganized. And if you want more in depth on each of those styles, please go scan my past episodes. I have episodes that are super, super deep on each style. But briefly, anxious attachment, I have strong fear of abandonment and I'm overvaluing my partner and I'm devaluing myself. I'm struggling with open, honest, direct communication and setting boundaries. And with anxious attachment, I can never get enough reassurance. I'm always asking for reassurance. And no matter how much I get, it doesn't feel like enough. So that's anxious attachment. Avoidant attachment is where I'm disconnected from my inner emotional experience, and I will unconsciously distance from the relationship. I have fears of intimacy where I fear that I will let other people down or other people will let me down. And with avoidant attachment, once again, it's a lot of the distancing, also struggling with communication in terms of stonewalling, pulling away, not feeling like I can have the tough conversations. And then with avoidant attachment, a lot of beliefs about people are too much, people want too much from me, and also beliefs about I'm not a good partner. So that's a review on avoidant attachment. Disorganized attachment is anxious and avoidant happening at the same time. So fears of abandonment and simultaneously fears of intimacy. So basically, I want you, I need you, get away from me. Right. And this is a very chaotic emotional experience. There's a lot of highs and lows, a lot of unpredictability, difficulty understanding who you are. So the identity piece is really challenging, of not knowing what you really want, what's important to you. And there's so much more I could say about disorganized attachment, but that's good in terms of a review. Basically, just know it's anxious and avoidant happening at the same time. And then secure attachment, where we all want to be. This is where I value myself. I also value the relationship. I have high self-worth, and I also really value the person that I'm with. So notice how there's a lot of, okay, I take care of myself and I also am there for my partner. There's a lot of and language in secure attachment. I can self-soothe and I can go to my partner for support. I can set boundaries and I can be flexible and work to compromise with my partner, right? So there's insecure attachment. There is this belief that, of course, I'm worthy of expressing my needs. And of course, I want to know what my partner's needs are as well. So, secure attachment, emotionally available, predictable. With secure attachment, we have interdependence. I depend on myself and I can depend on you, not codependence. This is where we all want to be. And this is the style we're going to explore. How does the securely attached person navigate a breakup? Okay. So, excuse me. I thought it would be really helpful actually to tell you a story about a client, because I don't know about you, but when I'm learning something, I feel like if I have a story, if I have an example, it just helps me integrate it on a deeper level. So let's do that. I'm just going to tell you, obviously, I'm not going to use names, but here's the story of a client. Okay. Client came to us. She'd been in so many different relationships that she thought were going to work out, that for whatever reason didn't work out. She was kind of at her wit's end in dating, mid 30s. There's this part of her that goes, okay, I'm just going to focus on my career and then I'm going to forget that I even want a relationship. But there's this little voice that would come to her that would say, but hey, you actually really want a family. You really want to get married. This is your heart's desire. You want to have love in your life. So after she was really honest with herself and she was realizing, wow, I really am just repeating the same patterns over and over again in my relationships. None of my dating life is working out. None of the people I'm dating, it's not going anywhere. It's always ending after 3 months, right? She was really honest about her patterns, and she was really honest that she wanted a loving, secure marriage. So she comes to us and she's in the program, and she's an incredible client, super, super ready to do the work and showing up and doing all the things. And in our group call, she was talking about how she was dating and how dating was so much different for her now because she's enjoying dating. She's getting to know people in a way that feels fun and not forced and not emotionally draining because she's no longer over investing so quickly, right? And this was someone who had a lot of anxious attachment, but she also had a little bit of avoidance strategies, which can happen. You can have people who don't have disorganized style, but who have strategies from each style, meaning they're not showing up with disorganized attachment where you're doing both styles at once, but they have different strategies that they pull from each attachment style. But this client was mostly anxiously attached, but she did have some avoidance strategies, okay? So anyway, so she's talking about her dating life, and then I see her again a couple weeks later, and she was in this relationship with this person, and it was going well. And she was telling us about how, wow, it's feeling really good and the pacing's really good and I'm enjoying this relationship. And then I saw her again because keep in mind, we get to know our clients. They're with us for a period of time. And now we even have a membership so that if you go through the program, you can stay with us as long as you need to. We had clients requesting that, so we created it. So anyway, so I have some time with this client. So then I see her again. I think this time was like 3 weeks later. And she let us know that she was going through a breakup and that the person that she had started dating, she'd had the "we are exclusive" talk. It was clear that they were dating, that it had become clear that they weren't compatible and that the relationship wasn't going to work. And she was on the call and she was telling us that this had happened a couple of days ago. And the way that she described this breakup is textbook secure attachment breakup, okay? So what happened? She talked about, of course, she was sad. So there's always a grieving period, right? Of course, she cried. She was journaling about the initial grief of this relationship ending. She liked this person. She was going to miss spending time with them. She was also grieving the story that her brain had about where the relationship was going to go, right? Because we're also kind of grieving this future that we'd come up with. So she, of course, went through that period. And she was so surprised because she realized she had really let herself fully feel her feelings. Even the fact that, she was there and she was at our group call and she's talking to us about this, that means that she didn't just let the breakup completely derail her. She's still, okay, showing up and doing things for her life, right? So much to learn from this example. And I want to kind of break this down and then we'll talk about how is this different than when you have an anxious, avoidant, disorganized breakup, right? The thing that we can learn is she felt her feelings. She practiced emotional regulation. She was practicing self-soothing strategies. She allowed herself to grieve the relationship. And she also acknowledged that she was grieving kind of some of the fantasy or some of the story that she had told herself about the relationship. Okay. And then she did a really important mindset reset. She came back to reminding herself of her worthiness, of the kind of relationship that she desired, reminding herself of her non-negotiables, how she wants to feel in her relationship. And she reminded herself that this type of relationship is available to her. It is out there. There are people right now who want that same kind of relationship, who are looking for someone like her. So she did a mindset reset, came back to her worthiness, and then she also made sure that her behaviors were matching that level of high self-worth. So she started taking care of herself, in terms of going to bed early, taking a hot bath, going to do yoga, practicing journaling, letting herself feel whatever she needs to feel. She's calling a friend, right? Like she was doing things to take care of herself. So it wasn't just a mindset reset, the behaviors also matched taking care of herself. Okay. And then she started moving forward. She started re-engaging with her life, showing up for things, making sure that she had plans scheduled. She's not just completely isolating herself, right? So these are really important pieces from the securely attached breakup. Now let's compare this. What happens when we have an insecure style? Remember, insecure could be anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. With an insecure style breakup, you're really likely to get emotionally dysregulated. You're really likely to feel your feelings in a big way, but also be critical about feeling your feelings. So you're only going to make yourself feel them even deeper and even bigger because you are being critical and you're annoyed that you're crying, and it just makes the emotions go on and on and on. Maybe you're going to experience weeks or months of having a huge emotional reaction. And you're gonna feel like the world stops, like you can't take care of yourself. You're probably gonna be neglecting yourself. Maybe you're not even doing like tasks of daily living, and going through a breakup where you're then neglecting yourself and you're not taking care of yourself. Of course, that only makes the emotional experience worse. So then the emotions get bigger. What else happens with the insecure breakup? You get into this spiral of I'm never going to find anyone. You can go into complete scarcity mindset. You will probably go back and you'll be analyzing everything that happened in the relationship. And you might, with anxious attachment, you'll be looking for, what did I do wrong? You're going to devalue yourself, right? With avoidant attachment, you're going to look for, what did they do wrong? How did they mess it up? You're going to look at what the other person did more. And with disorganized, you'll go back and forth between the two. And notice this, with secure attachment, how are we doing the quote unquote relationship autopsy, looking at the relationship once it's dead? With secure attachment, we're saying, oh, these are the things that I did wrong, and these are the things that my partner did wrong. And you're acknowledging, oh yeah, it takes two people to make a relationship. Both of us contributed to the demise of this relationship. So notice it's a much more balanced approach, right? So, all of this being said, when you think about, okay, I want to make sure that if I'm going through a breakup, that I'm going through it in a securely attached way. I want you to realize this. It is okay if initially you catch yourself having a spiral, if you catch yourself slipping into that anxious attachment, avoidant attachment way of thinking. You're human. And even if you are learning how to be secure, a breakup is so stressful that maybe it will send you backwards into an insecure spiral. Instead of judging that, I would want you to notice it. You're listening to this podcast, so now you know what to look for. I want you to notice it. I want you to have compassion. And then I would just want you to ask yourself, what does it look like for me to show up in a securely attached way? What does securely attached me do if they're navigating this breakup, right? One thing I want to do is just end with, how do securely attached people think about breakups? Because I think this will be really helpful. When you are securely attached and you're experiencing a breakup, one of the ways that you frame it is you go, okay, this was a learning lesson. What did I learn from this relationship? So this is actually a great journal prompt, right? If you're going through a breakup, or even if you've gone through one and you know you didn't handle it well, you can use this prompt of say, what did I learn about myself in this relationship? And what did I learn about what I want? So when you're securely attached, you're not looking at, oh, that was a waste of time. The love was lost. It was such a waste. No, you're saying, what did I learn? How did I grow? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about what I want? You're really framing it that way. And then also with secure attachment, when you go through a breakup, you're thinking of it this way. You say, thank God that relationship is done if it wasn't meant for me. You are so grateful because you're able to say, wow, if that relationship wasn't meant for me, then I don't want it taking up space in my life. I need to leave that sacred relationship space open in my life so that the next person can come, the person that is meant for me, right? Like, I don't want people taking up space in my life if they're not the people that I'm meant to be with, right? So you have this gratitude of, okay, if that wasn't supposed to work out, then I'm so grateful that it's done. And then they also, with secure attachment, you use a breakup as an opportunity to heal more deeply and to work on that relationship with yourself and get even more clear about the standards and non-negotiables that you have for a future relationship. So all around, you're using it as a tool for healing and a tool for clarity, and also an opportunity to lean on the people in your life, the other relationships, to lean on friends, to lean on family, to reconnect to yourself and focus on, okay, who am I? What's important to me? How do I heal on an even deeper level? And how do I prepare myself for really attracting that relationship that's truly meant for me? So those are some of the ways that the securely attached person thinks about the breakup. And I just want to invite you, obviously, if you've been listening to the show or you listen to this episode and you're going, I don't know how to do this, Dr. Morgan. I don't know how to have the securely attached breakup. I need your help. Good news. We do have a few spots open this month inside of the Empowered.Secure.Loved program. I don't know what happened, but we've had so many people. It's been amazing. Like, so many people joining the program, so many people doing the work. So we really have had to limit our spots. So if you listen to this and you're like, yes, I need that, go apply now, because this is not just like a course. This is not just like, oh, go take this course. We have coaching for you. We have one-on-one coaching. We have group coaching. There's a high level of support, which is super rare in the online space, particularly. And this high level of support means we can only take a certain number of people, and we are about there. So if you know, hey, I really need to do this, don't wait. Go apply. Use the link in the show notes. All right, y'all. I hope this episode really gave you a framework and it gave you some ways to think about, what does it mean to have a securely attached breakup? And obviously, let me know what you thought. Send me a DM on Instagram at Dr. Morgan Coaching on Instagram. I love to hear from you. You are the reason why I do this show, okay? Because I don't want people to suffer the way that I suffered for over a decade in so many different painful relationships, and thinking there was something wrong with me, and believing that I was broken and I wasn't good enough and that I would never find a healthy relationship. Meanwhile, watching all my friends get married, I just seriously believed there was something wrong with me. And my goal is to help as many people as possible know that there's nothing wrong with you. that yes, maybe you need to rewire your brain and you need to learn how to embody secure attachment, but the relationship that you deserve, and more importantly, the life that you deserve, where you're emotionally regulated, you're securely attached, you have high self-worth, right? That is so available to you. It is so available to you. You are not too broken. It's not too late. You really are capable of doing the healing work and becoming that version of you that has incredible, healthy, loving relationships. Okay. All right. I'm sending you so much love. And of course, I'm wishing you high self worth and great relationships. Until next time.